we have tried to render already all the assistance, well, not all the assistance, but a lot of the assistance requested even prior to the request. Amongst them, yung even helping the relatives come here, visas, accommodations, etc. And any and all means at our disposal to include repatriation of the remains. No? With regards to restitution, that is actually a thought that I had coming to the office today. And I will ask both the Executive Secretary and the DBM to study the matter, see what resources and what restitution we can give, or actually the better term would be assistance we can give to those who have lost members of their family, and also to those who will be trying to recover from this tragedy.
Delon Porcalia, Philippine Star.
Sir, at the height of the crisis, have you entertained thoughts of requesting yung executives ng TV networks para somehow mag-veer away yung camera doon sa live coverage? Anyway, it was a matter of national security at that time naman. Tsaka siguro naman, pwede nang maano yung prior restraint kasi national security na.
Sa totoo lang, pinag-isipan po natin yan. Nire-rely natin primarily yung mga public information officers sana to give you what you needed and to put you in an area that was secure. Yung perhaps in the list of priorities that I had to attend to that day with regards to the incident, looking at it from a television screen gave me a wrong perspective in the sense that parang ang layo from the bosses nung mga tao. And then, forgetting the fact that there is a distortion when a camera is used, that it increases the apparent distance. And I have also learned my lesson in this aspect. I will be conducting a cabinet meeting, perhaps a cluster meeting of the security cluster, as well as other departments that have a bearing on this, DFA, tourism, DSWD, health, etc., to even have a more fine-tuned crisis management protocol in place.
Jill Beltran of Sunstar.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Sir, other matters po. Congress has dismissed the bill po suspending barangay and SK elections, and there are reports that you have met with several senators and congressmen yesterday. So, sir, what's the purpose of the meeting? And
we had a meeting yesterday. We discussed the barangay elections. I appealed to them that a renewal of mandate is so necessary in governance, especially given the fact that the barangay will be the primary instrumentality in carrying out any and all programs of the state. Specifically, disaster mitigation come to mind. Yung dengue outbreaks in certain areas also come to mind, where a very necessary component is the cleanliness drive. Without the renewed mandate, the support of the populace essential in attaining success of these objectives will be severely put to the test. So I appeal to members of the ruling coalition in both chambers to support us in our drive to continue with what has already been scheduled by the pertinent law, and that is the conduct of barangay elections and SK elections by October of this year. And that was, again, a primary appeal that they acceded to, and we thank them for it. Can I just elaborate? The last time there were suspensions, they suspended barangay elections for something like 5 times. Let me correct myself now. Effectively, the term became 5 years instead of 3 years. So, with each extension, there is a diminution of the mandate that should have been secured by the elected officials.
Belia Carriazo, Bandera.
Sir, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir, you mentioned about dengue. Sir, are you satisfied with how Secretary Ona is handling the dengue situation? And would you order the DOH to review its strategies to be more effective, considering that there are observations that we are belittling the enormity of the problem, despite that at least hundreds have died and thousands have already affected? And with the visit of a World Health Organization group, it means there is a problem, serious problem regarding dengue in our country.
I don't think Secretary Ona has been belittling the problem. In fact, when I did ask him during the day of the hostage incident, actually, he was one of the 5 items I was handling at the start of my day. He did mention that there is a 50% increase in incidents, and that he and the DepEd were going around for an education campaign which had to deal with a cleanliness drive. No? We understand that the mosquitoes breed in waters that are stagnant. Therefore, an educational campaign talking about things like tires that are left in junkyards, yung pots for plants that have been left unattended to, yung gutters in roofs, etc. So that is an initial step. You'd rather have the prevention rather than the curing, for an aspect of it. There is also a study being done whether or not there is an effect already of the global climate change that has increased the population of these dengue-bearing mosquitoes. So far, except with his reporting requirements to me, to keep me properly apprised, which I called his attention to, I think he has been doing a job subject to, of course, everything that everybody's been doing is subject to review. I hopefully will have a pause in the other matters being attended to today, that we can attend to that dengue problem on a matter of review. No.
Ana Roa of Business World.
Good afternoon, sir. Will there be an executive order creating a PPP center? And if there is, was it signed already? And what will be the main function of the PPP center?
PPP for private-public partnerships. We are still formulating the entirety of the program. No? Amongst them are suggestions to create an investment fund that can give very good loans, parang low-bearing interest loans, to pump prime the private sector in undertaking these projects. But we don't have an EO yet. We are still in the stages of discussions of the parameters, policies, and guidelines on how best to proceed with encouraging the private sector in undertaking the massive infrastructure program that we need.
Joel Ginto of Bloomberg.
Mr. President, sir, tomorrow the NSCB will be releasing third quarter GDP figures. Sir, based on their briefers to you, ano sir yung tingin nyo dun sa mga numbers? And related to Celerina's question kanina, sir, yung impact nung bus siege dun sa tourism, will that dent our GDP growth for the rest of the year?
Well, I don't expect that in the short term, definitely it will dent it. But in the long term, it will not. As you know, we are still in the midst of coming up with the infrastructure necessary to support the tourism industry. Where are we at this point in time? There is excuse me, we had the group from Deutsche Bank come and pay us a courtesy call yesterday. They are optimistic of the prospects of the country, and they believe that this is a temporary glitch, that will not detract from the positive outlook that they have of the country. Now, in the course of the conversation, in tourism specifically, one of them told me that he was he's in the country. I forget which division of Deutsche Bank he is with, but he had a friend in London who wanted to visit the Ifugao Rice Terraces, and he proceeded to go to the internet to try and book himself all the necessary flights, accommodations, etc. And at the end of the day, it was a very frustrating experience. So he asked his friend, who happens to be in the country, to try and arrange all of these things for him. So even the provision of a portal to make it easy to travel to all areas of the country is one of the things that is on the priority list of the Department of Tourism. Now, again, necessary infrastructure, how difficult it is to travel. If, for instance, to go to Boracay, you spend practically 1 day to get to Boracay. Can there be more direct flights, etc.? We don't have that infrastructure yet to generate the 6 million tourists that we hope will achieve. So, having this negative impact at this time, given the fact that the infrastructure is not yet there to have already induced a lot of tourists to come to our country, perhaps is I'm searching for the proper word, lest I be misconstrued on as to the intent. But again, the impact, I guess that what I'm trying to say is the impact will be minimal in the long term. In the short term, obviously, it is significant, but in the long term, we believe we will overcome this in the not too distant future.
Weng de la Fuente, Net 25.
Good afternoon, sir. Going back to the hostage tragedy, sir, there are some lawmakers saying that the administration lacks the crisis management instinct. And would you appoint somebody who will be a top-level point man if ever there will be a crisis again in the future?
That's judgmental on their part. And I would like to say, perhaps absent the facts, no? Yung personally, and perhaps that gives me the opportunity to tell you exactly why I decided, how I decided on that day. When my mother was running for the presidency, one of the things that we were apprised of was the leader cannot be expected to decide properly if they are emotionally involved. So threats like kidnapping of one of us was discussed with her. Hence the need to set up a team with clear-cut policies that can decide objectively given any crisis situation. Okay. Now, why did I decide? Why I've been criticized, I understand, for not being at every scene throughout the day. I think I explained it to the people who were here that night. The crisis management head and the ground commander specifically would be in the best position to know who of his troops are most able, meaning which of these negotiators has the best track record and is privy to a similar situation. Which forces are available to him should there be a need to assault the objective. And so on and so forth. I am not privy to all of those details. No? I may have general knowledge of how to resolve certain situations, but in terms of the human resource capability, I think I cannot be expected to have at my beck and call current dossiers of everybody who can participate in such an event. Okay. Hence, I believe that there was somebody more capable than I in determining which forces to employ for this particular engagement. No? And I purposely tried to not interfere with everything that he had to do because he already had so much things on his plate. No? Now, I think you would note that the chief negotiator, whose name escapes me right now, was being interviewed yesterday, and he was hinting that he had to respond to so many people. No? His actual boss, head of the district, General Magtibay, certain people from the regional office of the NCRPO, and again, from people from Krame. Then, of course, you had others who were grandstanding, others who became talking heads without the necessary knowledge, without even thinking through the impact of their statements. And I wanted to set an example to everybody. Look, there are people delegated, authorized to undertake this mission. Let us not complicate what is already a complicated situation. Unfortunately, half of the time, I think we were trying to dissuade so many quarters from further parang being a factor to making the situation deteriorate. Now, other things that have come to mind after this, syempre, there are lessons to be learned. Even